It sounds like Madonna. It looks like Madonna. It is Madonna, but she's not the rebel she used to be.
I don't regret it. I mean, everybody takes their clothes off now.
The material girl is now the traditional girl. A mother who bans TV and swearing at home. Walking a new spiritual path along with Paris Hilton and Demi Moore. Getting older and wiser.
Is there anything good about getting older?
Getting smarter.
Do you feel smarter?
Do I sound smarter?
Cynthia McFadden's exclusive with Madonna Reinvented. When 2020 returns, this Madonna hasn't acted like a virgin for years, but now she's reinventing herself on stage and off.
Say the name Madonna and lots of words come to mind, like scandalous, salacious, rebellious. But now add traditional. Traditional? Well, yes, because Madonna is reinventing herself again. And not just on stage, as you'll hear. Over her flamboyant career, Madonna has shed her clothes many times, but rarely has she revealed herself as she does tonight in an exclusive interview with my colleague Cynthia McFadden.
Don't just stand there, let's get to it. Strike a pose, there's nothing to it.
She is perhaps the most famous woman in the world. She has certainly been one of the most controversial. Remember Like a Virgin? And her numerous run-ins with the Catholic Church. She's back on a worldwide tour. Little surprise, she's full of surprises. We sat down for an exclusive interview with the master of self-invention herself, Madonna. What do you want that you don't have?
I want to be more liberated from my ego. Less concerned with what people think of me.
Well, are you concerned what people think of you?
Less than I used to be, but hey, there's a long way to go. I mean, you know, once you enter the popularity sweepstakes, which you do when you become famous, whether you're a singer or an actress or a model or a journalist, a TV journalist, whatever, you know, you enter the world of, you know, how am I doing? How am I doing? How's my rating? How's my, you know, how do I look? Where am I in the 50 most beautiful people, you know, poll?
You have done a really good job, though, I think, of making the rest of us think you don't care very much what other people think.
I'm a good actress. I mean, I'm a rebel, and, you know, that's the stance of a rebel. The stance of a rebel is, you know, I can't say bad words on TV, but, you know, I don't care what you think. But if it's just for the sake of upsetting the apple cart, you're not really helping people. You turn the apple cart over, and then what? Then everyone's looking at an apple cart that's turned over, and they're like, well, now what do I do?
So you've done a little of that.
God, yeah.
Just for the sake of it.
Just for the sake of it,
Want
yes.
to mention anything in particular?
No. I think everybody knows. I mean, let's not state the obvious. You know, I did spend, you know, at least a decade taking my clothes off and being photographed, saying bad words on TV, and, you know, that sort of thing.
Like her sex book from 1991, most of which we can't show you, and her erotica period. But was that just for the sake of it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I was looking for deeper meaning, Madonna.
I know, well, I was looking for deeper meaning too, and I thought I was liberating mankind, but like I said, I wasn't really offering an alternative, so.
Now you're depressing me.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I mean, you know, I don't regret it, but it's just, you know, I mean, everybody takes their clothes off now. And then what? I mean, you know, to a certain extent, I was saying, look, you know, why do men only get the job of objectifying women in a sexual way? I want to do it too. There was an element of that, but there was also an element of being an exhibitionist and saying, look at me, you know. It wasn't that altruistic, so I can admit that.
And that's a first from the woman who has always said she didn't need to explain or apologize.
I choose to look at myself as like a person who's now awake, and a person who's now trying to be part of the order, not the chaos of the world.
But do you think you were ever part of the chaos?
Certainly in my personal life, I was part of the chaos. I just ripped through relationships in a willy-nilly, completely selfish. What's in it for me? Okay, this isn't serving me anymore. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Lots of chaos. I think I brought a lot of chaos to people's lives because of my selfish behavior. And that adds up.
When I was very young, nothing really mattered to me but making myself happy.
Just for the record, her conga line included Sean Penn, Dennis Rodman, and Warren Beatty. Madonna says the ego that has served her so well in the past
I looked into your eyes and my world came tumbling down.
is now undergoing a tough reevaluation.
We're all controlled by our ego. We are all slaves to our ego. Everything we do is about our ego.
Guilty as charged.
Absolutely, and so am I, and so are we all. And if I didn't have a huge ego, I wouldn't be here. But at a certain point, you have to understand that it is, you know, it's your dog. And it's like, are you walking the dog or is the dog walking you?
I'm fascinated by something you said recently. I don't want people to dress like me anymore. Now I want them to think like me. Dress like Britney Spears and think like me and everything will be fine.
Yes, well, you know, there was a time in my life when people did dress like me and wore things I wore, but I mean...
A lot of them were at the
that was
concert
then.
last night.
Yeah, but they were still dressing like me from 1985, so... yeah, I mean, I'm not flattered by that so much anymore.
So if someone were to think like Madonna today,
Yeah.
how would they be thinking?
They'd be thinking a lot.
She is thinking, she says, about how to make herself a better person and the world a better place. She attributes her new philosophy to the study of 13th century Jewish mysticism called Kabbalah. Kabbalists believe in immortality, and also that you can overcome death and illness by how you think and how you behave. Is it true you have a new name of Esther?
Well, let's say I don't go by the name of Esther, but yes, that is my Hebrew name. Yep.
How do you get it? Did you pick it?
I chose it, yeah.
Why?
I was named after my mother. My mother died when she was very young of cancer, and in the metaphysical world, I wanted to attach myself to another name. So, and this is no way a negation of who my mother is. So I read about all the women in the Old Testament, and I love the story of Queen Esther. She saved the Jews from annihilation.
The courtesan who becomes queen.
Yeah.
Esther apparently has a few ideas about how Madonna should behave.
My Kabbalah teacher, one of them, used to say to me, when in doubt, act like God. And then you think, well, what does that mean? You know, it's like, well, what describe God? God would be compassionate, unconditional, all-giving, all-loving. So when in doubt, behave that way. You'll never go wrong.
How are you doing in that regard?
I'm getting better. Yeah, I mean, I'm a very judgmental person. I mean, I always have been, and you know, I see people, I put labels on them, I put them in boxes, they behave badly, and I immediately want to say they're a jerk. But in Kabbalah, you learn that, you know, you never know about people.
The study of Kabbalah has become hip in some circles. Celebrities like Demi Moore and Britney Spears are said to be followers too, who wear a red string bracelet on their left wrist. It's said to be a protection against the evil eye. The red bracelet,
Yes.
do you have it with you?
Yes, it's under my watch.
You're a little self-conscious.
I'm a little bit irritated that people think that it's like some celebrity bandwagon that I've jumped on. I'm very serious about it. It's true, Paris Hilton did come to the Kabbalah Center once because her parents brought her and they wanted to help her and they were desperate. And suddenly Paris Hilton studies Kabbalah. I mean, that's what happens, and people, you know, they don't know the whole story.
Her study of Kabbalah has been the inspiration for a series of children's books. The third, Yaakov and the Seven Thieves, will be released next week and is based on an 18th century Ukrainian folktale. Dedication in this
Yes.
book is to naughty children everywhere?
Yes. Yeah. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lesson in all the children's books, but I think it's really just the idea that even the naughtiest person in the world, big or small, has the capability to do something good in the world and to offer something good to the world. And there's lots of children who like to identify with themselves with being naughty, so.
Are your children naughty sometimes?
Oh, yeah, most of the time, yeah. I would be a bit frightened if they weren't.
How about you?
Yes, of course. I'm naughty child number one.
So let's talk about the tour.
Okay.
The name. Reinvention.
You don't need diamond rings or 18-karat gold.
You have spent the last 20 years denying that you were reinventing yourself.
Well, because I felt that it trivialized what I did, and people would say, oh, she's just reinvented herself. And by the way, it's not that easy. I mean, because it requires investigation, it requires work. So I've just reflected what I've been influenced by, so you could call that reinvention, or you could call that evolution.
Or maybe even integration. But call it what you will, the concert is partly a retrospective.
See, I'm crazy for you. Touch me once and you know it's true.
Something she'd always said she didn't want to do. It's also in part an anti-war protest.
I'm not a Christian and I'm not a Jew. I'm just living out the American dream, and I just realized that nothing is what it seems.
This, her American Life video, plays a prominent role in the concert. It is the video she refused to release last year on the brink of the war in Iraq. Are you sorry you didn't release it then, given what's happened since?
No, not.
It wasn't the right time.
No, it wasn't. People were too caught up in, you know, America was too polarized. There was a lynch mob mentality that was going on that wasn't pretty. And I have children to protect, and I just didn't think it was the right time.
There's the last image of the video where President Bush, or President Bush look-alike, kisses Saddam Hussein.
On the cheek.
On the cheek.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to think about that?
Although, you know, they're very different people serving very different purposes, I think they both have very equally narrow views about how to solve problems, and it is all about power and in the struggle for oil and the struggle for world domination. And at the end of the day, are they that different? You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want to equate George Bush with Saddam Hussein, but I believe that George Bush and Saddam Hussein are both behaving in an irresponsible manner. So in that respect, they're alike.
The Dixie Chicks got in a lot of trouble for criticizing the president a lot less than you just did.
Okay, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think you're going to find many people who think that the war in Iraq at this point was a good idea.
Even the new Kabbalist Madonna can't resist a little controversy.
When 2020 returns,
Is there a reigning philosophy in your household?
Pick up your
next. 2020 continues with Cynthia McFadden's exclusive interview with Madonna.
Little girl, don't you forget her face.
Madonna's mother died when she was 5. It is a painful subject, one she has written about, one she has sung about.
Felt all the pain.
13 years ago, she even allowed cameras to follow her to her mother's grave. But despite all this, it has been hard for her to talk candidly about it.
I fought to be so strong. I guess you knew I was afraid.
Having a family has helped.
My childhood was lonely and sad, and I just felt such an emptiness and such a feeling of lack, and I don't want to go back there ever. My husband and I are very different in that way. He's always trying to recapture his youth, and he did so many fun things as a child that he still loves to do. And I'm not interested in recapturing my childhood at all.
Her husband is director Guy Ritchie. She and Ritchie have been married 4 years. Their son Rocco lives with them at their homes in London, Los Angeles, and New York, as does Madonna's daughter Lola.
Come over.
The whole family is in New York this week, on tour with Mom while she's performing here. Madonna, family values. Let's talk about family values, okay?
Okay.
All right. Is there a reigning philosophy in your household?
Pick up your
Okay.
Everybody has to chip in. Even my children have to clean up their mess, clean up their rooms, manners, thank you, please, take your dishes to the sink. I mean, whatever. I mean, gratitude, being grateful, that has to happen.
It couldn't sound much more traditional, is it?
Is it traditional? If it's traditional to be a decent human being, then I'm traditional.
This is Lola, and this is Rocco.
Traditional and strict. For example, no TV is allowed for the children.
Are you all afraid you're going to they're not going to know the cultural references of their friends?
Oh, they know. They listen to the radio. They go to school. You know, they hear things. They know what's going on. They know that, you know, Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears have pierced belly buttons.
Do they know Mommy kissed them?
Yeah. My daughter does, but she doesn't think anything of it. She's like, whatever. I kiss girls all the time on the lips. I say hello, goodbye, whatever. That's what she thinks of it.
No swearing at the Ritchie household.
Oh, well, we violate that one all the time.
I hear you cost you a quarter, though.
It does, you know, but my children point it out. Yeah, we get fined.
What is the one thing you have learned from having a daughter?
Girls are so clever. Much cleverer than boys.
In a good way?
Yeah, but they're different, you know. They're different. My love affair with my son is different than my love affair with my daughter.
How?
Because it's more of an association with my daughter. I see myself in her, and, you know, sometimes I'm repulsed, and sometimes I just want to put my arms around her and just, you know what I mean? Like, come here, I know exactly what you're going through right now. But my son is, you know, well, you know, you have a son. It's just love. They can do no wrong. It's terrible.
You said that your daughter Lola had sometimes taken it in the neck because she's your daughter.
Yeah.
That sometimes kids ostracize her, sometimes.
They befriend her. But she knows it now. She understands it. I mean, she has that savvy that, you know, people are coming to her now. She can discern, you know.
Have you helped her? Have you given her some tips, skills?
Yeah, we talk about, I mean, a guy and I, we talk to her about fame all the time. I mean, we have discussions about paparazzi, why they take our pictures, what the point of it is. I mean, there's websites devoted to my children. It's sick.
Has she seen you in concert?
Oh, yeah, many times. She's been, you know, she knows the show inside and out.
What do you think it's like for her to see 10, 15, 20,000 people going insane?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think she just thinks that's Mom, that's her job. She's just doing her job. I don't think she pays that much attention to it. I mean, my daughter goes home and plays with her Polly Pockets. I mean, she's not preoccupied with it at all.
I hear there are Barbie fashion shows at your house.
There are. They're a little bit disturbing. Yeah.
When you watch her on stage, Barbie fashion shows seem a long way away.
Do you go to sleep at the end of this? I mean, when you walk...
It takes me hours to unwind. Yeah.
And is Guy waiting with a little cup of tea at the door when you're coming through?
Fat chance. Guy's waiting for me to come home and give him a massage. It's true. He talks to me in the bathtub, though. That's my ritual. I come home, I get in the bathtub, and he talks to me.
He even calls her Ma or Mrs. And we learned the rules that Madonna applies at work don't necessarily apply at home.
You have said many times that you will never apologize. Now, I take it that doesn't apply at home.
Of course not. That's like step number one to a successful marriage. Learn to apologize. Right?
It sounds like the rebel may be leaving old habits behind.
Is there anything good about getting older?
Getting smarter.
Do you feel smarter?
Oh, yeah. Do I sound smarter?
Madonna at 45. Still a work in progress, but yeah, it seems a smarter one.
And 2020 will be back Friday, July 2nd. That's our program for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Stossel.
And I'm Barbara Walters. I'll see you on The View and back here in 2 weeks. For all of us at 2020, good night.
Treat me like I'm a bad girl, even when I'm being good to you. I don't want you to thank me You better